and
forever.
it's cost me so much anxiety.
We almost, we almost had a PTSD moment, dude. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on Locked Door MMA. We're your hosts. I'm Brevin. This is my good buddy JP. And in today's episode, we will be giving you guys a recap of the UFC Fight Night out in Canada. Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. But before we dive into that card, we just want to give a quick thanks to all of you as our current viewers, our subscribers, even our non-subscribers. We appreciate you guys so much week in and week out. If you aren't subscribed currently, what are you waiting for? It's free to do. We've been absolutely crushing each one of these cards. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on our great predictions every single week. Without further ado, JP, let's dive into this card. Overall, thought it was pretty decent. I'll hand it over to you to take us through the main event of the evening, what you guys come to see every single Saturday.
Yeah, not a bad card. Not a bad fight night up in Canada. The main event, man. Moreno, Albazi. Um, Moreno said he wants his belt back again. I think I believe him. I mean, dude looked great on the feet. Uh, we didn't talk about Albazi having like spinal surgery or something. That's crazy. I don't
Yeah, he
like.
had a couple surgeries.
Yeah, like he almost died or something.
Yeah, and the doctor even told him, dude, if you take one more punch to the head, it could kill you. You shouldn't fight anymore. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but he's out there fighting. I mean, he does not care.
Jesus. And then he went out there and got his ass beat. He got punched in the face. What? 113
132 times.
times,
Yeah.
brother. But yeah, Moreno looked good. I mean, Albazi 1 for 4 for takedowns, trying to wrestle Moreno, couldn't get him down. Even that one time he got him down, Moreno was popping right back up or shooting right back up. So, I think this Brandon Moreno beats Brandon Royval in their fight. I mean, again, I'm biased. I don't like Pantoja, but I think this version of Brandon Moreno beats Pantoja. I believe him, man. I think he's good enough still. Yeah, it was a good pick by us. I mean, we thought he still had it, and obviously he still does.
Yeah, he certainly does. And it's hard to tell right now where he stands against a guy like Royval and Pantoja if he was to fight them again. But what I can tell you is from the performance that we saw on Saturday, this is a rejuvenated Brandon Moreno. This looks like a refocused Moreno. He looked very sharp in all aspects of the fight on Saturday, even winning two of the judges' scorecards 50-45. It was a very complete and dominant performance. He didn't get taken down. He got taken down one time. He popped right back up. The wrestling is going to be there for him. The jab is there as always. I love his little hunched over boxer stance where he can just pop that jab out from nowhere. No one sees it coming. It gets home a lot, as we saw on Saturday. Overall, great performance from him.
Um, this next one, very interested to hear what you think. Rose, Thug Rose. God, we were hyping her up. I was hyping her up so much. And Aaron Blanchfield.
Yeah, as you guys know out there, the weather's getting cold, winter is coming, and the roses are dying. That's exactly what happened on Saturday. Thug Rose did not look like her normal self. Maybe she did for the first two rounds. Looked pretty sharp. Striking was there, grappling was there, didn't get taken down, right? She won 2 rounds to zero. She was doing great. All she needed to do was win one more round out of the next three, and she would be moving up probably to a championship fight in this division. That wasn't the case. Aaron Blanchfield all of a sudden felt comfortable in this fight, started landing strikes on the feet, and then started landing the takedowns that she couldn't get in the first two rounds. Ultimately amounted over 8 minutes of control time. It was a good showing from Blanchfield in the last three. I don't know what to make of this fight just because of how outmatched Blanchfield looked in the first two rounds. But then all of a sudden, Rose lost her juice. She lost what was working for her. And all of a sudden, she didn't really have the gas tank to not get taken down. And the fights turned in that very moment from round three onwards.
Yeah. I mean, we had a nice juicy little bet we threw together, which was a Zalal by sub, which we'll get to there, but that hit, and that was parlayed with Rose by decision. You can imagine the odds were fat because Rose was a plus 140 underdog closing. So she wins the first 2 rounds. So we're sitting there pretty. We're feeling good. We're like, oh, let's fucking go, dude. And yeah, like you were saying, the last 3 rounds, it just kind of disappeared. And I mean, fending off a wrestler who's going to try and do that if you're not putting him out all 5 rounds, it's tiring, yeah. But I thought she would be able to do it. The last 3 rounds for striking, just we're just putting our head down and then just kind of slanging and not really, we're not putting anything together, or 1-2 cutting angles, staying away from her leg kicks and nothing. She just, every time she got close, it seemed like she bit down on her mouthpiece and dropped her head a little bit and just kind of threw wild. I don't get what we're doing, but whatever, is what it is. Good win for Blanchfield. Manon Fiorot gonna fight for a title. Still don't see Blanchfield beating her.
Yeah, I mean, Farrell's beaten both these girls at this point, so I think she definitely has the upper hand, against whoever she's in there with. But like you had said, man, Rose just didn't look technical, especially on the feet, and that's what she's known for. She's got great boxing. She can get in and out of the pocket, land from distance, land her combos. It looked funky in there, especially late in the fight. She, like you said, dipping her head, getting taken down, getting controlled. I was honestly shocked that
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't get one more round from a girl that's been there, done that time and time again, been in those championship rounds, has pretty good coaching. The performance just was not there on Saturday.
100%.
All right, that does take us down to an interesting matchup here. Not a ton of action, but interesting to say the least. Kyle Machado versus Brinson Ribeiro.
Um, yeah. So I didn't realize Ribeiro closed at a 170 underdog. And we did not. He was not. We picked him, and he was not in any of our bets or anything. So maybe fumbled it. I mean, looking at the fight, I only saw half of this because I was at a wedding like half the time, so I was in and out of watching the fights, not watching the fights. So I only saw about half this fight, but the half I did see was trash. And then you look at the scorecards afterwards. Machado landed 30 more strikes than Ribeiro did. Ribeiro landed 49 the whole fight, but he got the split. Sure, cool. I don't really care to see either guy fight again. Machado used to be a heavyweight. I don't know if he should go back or he should stay here. He sucks. He's slow. Doesn't put anything together. I mean, at least Ribeiro throws with conviction, but still at that point, he's not good and technical either. He can't really set up anything either. So I don't know. Cheeks.
Yeah, this was one of those fights where Machado was moving backwards the whole fight. When Ribeiro landed, it definitely seemed like the much um, heavier impact, like the much more significant strikes when he landed. When you look at the strike totals, yeah, Machado landed more strikes, I guess. It was just an interesting matchup because neither guy really went for it. It was probably 1-1 going into the third, and Ribeiro just kind of stalked him down the whole time and then threw heavier. And in the eyes of the judges, that's what matters. They're not privy to the strike totals. They don't really know that information. They're really just going off of what their eyes are seeing. And I would have to agree with the split decision, even though it was really close and the numbers don't really agree. Ribeiro just came forward and he threw hard. He did throw hard. And Machado, trying to be very technical, didn't look great in his lightweight or light heavyweight debut. Yeah, maybe he should reconsider going back up to heavyweight. If he was throwing some of those high kicks that ultimately got blocked, but in the heavyweight division, I could see that going a long way. I could see that being, working.
I don't know if we can
But
get him up there, but he's a heavyweight.
I mean, he's flexible nonetheless. I don't know, but not a great showing there.
Yeah,
And for
weird
the
boy.
record, I did include Ribeiro in some parlays. I didn't say it on the show because why would we? It's Prince and Ribeiro, and this is exactly why. But he was in some parlays. Don't get it twisted.
I didn't even put like money line. Like he's a dog. I didn't even money line him, dude. I don't know what I'm doing. Um. Uh. So funny. I thought the Rose fight was going to be a good fight. It was trash. This fight was actually better than the Rose fight. I felt like, um, Ariane Lipski de Silva. Who cares? And Jasmine Jazz Vicious.
Yeah, this one was interesting for as long as it lasted. In round one, I thought Da Silva looked pretty sharp with her hands on the feet, especially. Jazdavicius didn't looked that great. Her striking, she couldn't find her range. She failed on a takedown attempt, I believe, in early on in the first round, and I was getting a little bit worried. Late in the first round, she did secure a takedown, got some good work off very, very late in the round before the bell. Came back out in round two, kind of simulated the same thing. Ultimately, she was able to lock up a sub. I think once she got her wrestling going, felt a little bit more comfortable on the feet. She was starting to really find her home inside of the cage on Saturday, but until that point, she looked a little rough. I think if she's going up against a really good striker that can defend takedowns, watch out because I wasn't impressed by her striking one bit. But she does look very dominant once she gets a girl on the ground. So, I mean, it's just going to be a matchup thing with her, similar to what we say about Shara, right? If there's a specific opponent going up against her that's good at what she does best, then she's going to have a very tough time because she's almost a specialist in ground and pound at this point, I would say. So interesting, good win for Jastovicius. That's who we picked, but you're going to have to keep an eye out for her moving forward.
I mean, I think it works, especially in this women's division, dude. I mean, if you're stronger and you're hard to get out of there, like granted, like you're saying, the striker, 100%. If the striker can defend a little bit and then just outclass her on the feet, you can beat her. But for one, you got to be tough because she's going to be in your face if you can't knock her out. And for two, you got to have a gas tank, you know? And I think Jasmine looked decent. She's looked decent her last couple fights. She looked for the finish, got the finish. I also wasn't impressed with her striking. I don't want to say I was impressed with Petrovic, but it was like oh, she looks better than what I've seen her, I guess. So at first, I will agree with you in that first round was going through it. I was like, maybe we fumbled the bag here a little bit, but I mean, yeah, she got her down in the end of the first, and then after that, every time she got her down, I was like, oh, okay. It's one of those things where you're like, we're gonna be here a while, and then locked up the Darce. So before the Darce, she was going for what, like guillotines, a couple of different subs. So it was a good one.
Yeah, you were impressed with Da Silva, not Petrovic. We'll get to Petrovic later. That's who you
Oh,
said.
is this a different? Oh yeah, Lipsky, not Petrovic. Fucking Jesus Christ.
All good. Next fight, I know we have some emotions about this one. The man, the myth, the legend, Canada's finest, Marc-Andre Barriault letting the boys down once again, going up against Dustin Stoltzfus and getting knocked the hell out.
Unconscious. Bye, Mark. See ya. I mean, you had decent days, I guess. This dude's chin's gone, man. I mean, you're exchanging in the pocket and you're getting slept by Stoltzfus. Come on, pal. I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I think the Joe Piper, and they say it all the time. You get, and then didn't he go the fight before Piper? Who was that with? Let me pull up Tapology real quick, because I swear to God he went on like a war with somebody, if I'm not mistaken. And then like when shit like that happens, is your chin's never the same. Yeah, Chris Curtis. He took Chris Curtis to decision, and they were just beating each other up. Then he got knocked out by Joe Piper. So, yeah, I think it's it. if he does fight again, fade him all the way. He screwed us so hard.
Yeah, he's so tough, man. Like tough to predict that is. I don't know about actually tough. Uh this is not a good look for Barrios. I can give him a pass on the Joe Piper loss. I mean, Joe Piper is so fucking strong and such a hard hitter, but Stoltzfus doesn't knock anybody out.
He gets
And
knocked
then in
out.
this one, yeah, 100%. And then in this one, Stoltzfus looked like the more dominant guy, was controlling Mark Andre. Andre got back up, um, and then got caught like instantly. And I mean, Stoltzfus coming out and saying he's got the power, he can do this. He did put on a good performance. I'll be interested to see who he gets matched up against because this is a huge win for Stoltzfus's career, to be honest with you. Up to this point, nothing that was too exciting about him. However, this was a good win in my book. Marc Andre, as chinny as he now is, he's still very talented. And for Dustin to go out there and slump him like that, that's got to propel him up the rankings a little bit.
I think I mean, Stoltzfus can say what he wants, right? But you fought Ferreira and then Abus, and in both of those fights, you wobbled them or clipped them, but you got wobbled. And then in this fight, you just won the exchange. Like you rolled the dice and it finally went your way. So I don't necessarily like that. I still don't think Stoltzfus is anything really, but we'll have to see. Hey, Brevin, did the lock hit this week?
Lock did hit, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are so back.
Thank
Mike
the
Malott,
Lord.
my dude. Mike Malott took on Trevin Giles on Saturday. JP, I'll let you have the first crack at it. Then I'll share some things on my side here as the one that picked Mike Malott once again.
Hindsight, it's 2020. I always say that. We talked about him beating Trevin Giles in a grappling match before this. I feel like we should have kind of put together that it was going to be kind of slow. Granted, Trevin Giles did survive, but when you get beat in a grappling match that's like crazy recent and now you're going to fight him, I feel like both guys are going to be kind of hesitant because one guy knows he got beat, so he doesn't want to do anything risky. The other guy, oh, I can already beat this guy, so let's just see what he throws at me. But yeah, man, I know Malott saying he's always looking for the finish, which is cool. Don't fucking gas out, pal. um, yeah, I don't know. Lock hit. I'm happy about it. I'll leave it at that. Are we gonna lock Mike Malott again? Probably not. So yeah, good hit.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna tell you guys. Mike Malott, this dude that was so highly thought of coming into the UFC, a very top level prospect, has that loss, that the bad loss against Magny. Comes out there against Giles, a guy that he probably should get out of there fairly quickly, to be honest with you. Sitting at the minus 400 favorite, I think is what he closed at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the leg kicks were nice. Giles is a boxer. He's heavy on that front foot. But man, he was getting popped with that jab from Giles. His nose was in shambles. He had blood dripping down his face. Didn't look good, honestly, for the first round and a half, in my opinion. I thought he was going to lose a striking battle. And I was like, where's the takedowns? Let's mix in a little bit of that grappling that you do have in your back pocket, something you've beat this guy with before, but he wanted to stand there and trade. But then it's like, all right, we're going to throw a total of 59 strikes, Mike, and you're my lock. I'm just lucky that he threw more volume than Trevin did because Trevin was landing the better strikes early on, but eventually Mike threw more through the leg kicks. And then to the judge's eye, yay, Mike Malott won a unanimous decision. I'll take it, dude. We hit the lock. I am excited about that. But Mike Malott is probably done being a part of my parlays for the foreseeable future. I can't trust this dude as far as I can throw him. And
Forever.
it's cost me so much anxiety.
we almost we almost had a PTSD moment, dude. Oh my god. Mike Malott. You're telling me Brevin didn't back Trevin? Come on, dude. What are we doing? Moving down the prelim finale, prelim final. Who cares? Eamon Zahabi, Pedro Munoz.
Yeah, you guys know we picked Munoz in this one, the more experienced guy. Didn't look bad. However, Zahavi looked pretty sharp. When you look at these strike totals, it was a little bit closer than what actually happened on Saturday. Zahavi was powerful. He was really beating up the face of Pedro Munoz. Pedro was wearing the damage. Pedro's a guy that's known for calf kicks. Really changes up a fighter's approach when they're getting kicked in the calf. Never really had that working for him on Saturday, which was surprising. I thought it was there a lot more times than it wasn't, but he was just looking to throw big, land big. And against a guy like Zahabi, who has power, who's very, very quick, and has a good jab, that really wasn't the recipe for success. Zahabi looked pretty good and honestly earned my respect on Saturday. He's going to be a problem for a lot of guys just because of how he fights. I think it's enticing to stand there and trade with him. You don't really want to wrestle him. However, he's got great hands. So I don't really know where you take the fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, and Pedro went 0 for 6 for takedowns, so it's I don't know. I agree with you. I think Zahabi looked good, which I mean, it's kind of been the story of him lately. Is hey, he's looking a lot better. He's looking better. We didn't buy into it. It is what it is. I'll take it. It's not like the most upsetting loss we've had. Pedro Munoz. He's like what, 39, 38, something like that.
Yeah, and the one knock on Zahabi that we had, it was just the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got to show us more, got to put something on the table. Well, I think he did that this weekend. I think from now on we can just look at his overall skill set and not necessarily the level of competition. Munoz has been in there with everyone under the sun, and Zahabi put on a great performance against him, so I think that's a win.
Hey, fade the 40s, man. Fade the 40s.
All right. Next fight, Charles Jourdain defeats Victor Henry by guillotine in round two.
Man, Charles Jourdain. Mike Malott and Charles Jourdain both came through for us this card, okay? They're the ones who screwed us in the past. Charles Jourdain came through in a big way. Henry, a black belt. This is one I didn't get to see. And Brevins text me, holy shit. Charles Jourdain's guillotine is nasty. I mean, I'm surprised he got a finish. I'm sitting there trying to load ESPN to see what happened, and then I see fucking final by sub, and I was like, holy shit! I could have swore this fight was going long. I'm lucky I didn't put over 1.5 on this thing, over 2.5, man. But good for Charles, dude. He this is at 145, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should stay here. I think this is his weight class, man. I mean, he's fought some absolute killers at 155. It's tough at 155. They're just bigger. They can take better shots, but good for Charles, man. Got to finish on a tough guy, Henry, who's never been submitted. That's crazy. Good win for him.
Yeah, really good win for Charles, and I agree with you. He probably should stay right here in this division because he looked good. He looked tall. He was still very quick, and they were pointing that out in the broadcast as well with the speed advantage that Charles had over Victor Henry, and everyone thought Victor would have that speed advantage. It wasn't the case. Charles, he's got some new back ink, JP. I encourage you to go check that out, dude. If you haven't seen it, it's phenomenal work. He stands with his back facing the opponent before the fight just to
No,
scare him, put the fear of God. Yes, because it is like a demonic looking skull. It's pretty sick,
that's
honestly. Go
badass.
check it out. But yeah, he looked really great, and then that guillotine, he just sank that in, and there was no getting out of that one. It was a pretty quick tap from the black belt and Victor Henry. Victor did take him down a few times, was controlling him, but Charles just kept threatening that guillotine, and that helped him get back up to his feet. At which point the guillotine was still there, so then he jumped it again and sank it in super deep.
Wow. I gotta go check that out. That sounds badass. Good for Charles, man.
Thousand
Charles
percent.
Jourdain would have hit the juicer.
Jordan.
Would have hit the basic. But Marc Andre. Okay, pal. Appreciate you. But the lock hit, that's all that matters. Jack Shore, Yusuf Zalal. Brevin, how'd you feel?
I felt great, man. This was the second piece, the second leg of the lock, and it was important for us to get right back on the saddle, even though we've let you guys down a little bit in the past couple of weeks. We're back, and it feels great. Zalal looks the part, dude. I'm telling you, this is a guy that's been in there with Ilya. He took some time away, was beating himself up over the loss to Ilya Taporia, who's now champion. And he even mentioned that in the post-fight interview of like, look at what Ilya's done since I fought him, and that's given him a new wave of confidence. Freaking knee from hell that he threw was beautiful to watch. Put Jack Shore flat on his ass. And we talked about this. JP and I both had a parlay that included Zalal by sub. When he threw that knee, I thought Jack Shore was done to rights. I thought he was knocked out cold. And debatably was kind of close. Zalal then jumps on top, locks in that arm triangle, and sinks it in deep. And then I just see Jack Shore tapping. It was beautiful. We hit that sub. We should have hit Rose by decision, and that would have been something amazing to talk about. But you know what? We'll take the lock instead. Yusuf Zalal, you have my good graces with you. I appreciate the work you've put in, man. We love that guy. I think he's one of the channel's favorites at this moment.
Oh, gotta be, gotta be. He's made us pretty penny. Okay, Yusuf Salal's the dude. So pissed off, dude. I was so pissed off. Every fight before this, we were sitting there waiting for the ceremony at the wedding, waiting for the ceremony, and I was like, oh, hey, the ceremony's gonna start, so it should be done. I'll be able to watch the lock. They were late. Watched the walkouts, then ceremony started, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. So then right after I check it, saw the knee, saw the sub, and then I texted you, and I was like, brother, we are one step away, sir. So I was feeling great. I mean, yeah, I watched his interview. Yeah, Ilya's that dude. He gave Ilya. Everybody thinks the hardest fight Ilya's had in the UFC, man. Zalal looks great. I mean, 2 back-to-back subs. His stand-up looks great. Dude's quick. I mean, all around. It's going to be hard not to biasly pick Zalal for us moving forward.
Yeah, 1000%. All right. That takes us down to the big boys. Alexander Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento.
Nah, I'm good. I'd rather watch anything else. Terrible, trash, pathetic. Nascimento can't throw anything. I mean, it's not like Romanov can much better, but he did better than Nascimento did, so doubled up on the strikes. I mean, at least he can fucking throw a 1-2 and then change levels. 6 for 10 for takedowns. Should have just went with you. I mean, when they're fat and both are slow, just take the guy who can manhandle basically the other dude. I mean, that one picture that Sure Dog came out with, it, Nascimento's fucking parallel with the ground. I don't know why I didn't go with Romanov, but I mean, good call by you. I mean, they both suck though. I hate this heavyweight division. Other than like the top 5, trash, terrible. I cannot stand it.
Yeah, no, I mean, this fight was interesting, and honestly, I feel like I got a really good read on Alexander Romanov, so I'm excited for when he fights again next because I feel like no matter which way I pick, I'm going to make good money off this guy. He does have an improved gas tank. That was one thing to take note of from his previous fights. He's always gassed out because of the wrestling, but he was the fresher fighter in round 3. Um, if you would have told me going into this fight that Nascimento was going to be outstruck by Alexander Romanov, I would have called you crazy. I would have said that you were smoking something crazy because that normally wouldn't be the case. However, it was on Saturday. Romanov just bit down on his mouthpiece and started throwing these looping overhand lefts that started connecting. And it was kind of interesting, especially with how dominant of the wrestling Romanov had early on in the fight. It was fun to watch him sit there and throw down and then outstrike Nascimento as well. I mean, going into the or after this fight, you would think Nascimento is probably the worst heavyweight in the division, but to JP's point, that's not the truth. The heavyweight division is in shambles right now.
So bad.
It really is in shambles. Um, I do think I have a really good feel on Romanov. Yeah, man, he wrestled the heck out of him. It was not even close, and then couldn't get hit by Nascimento. So good win for Romanov.
He's
Good
just
odds for me too.
so slow, bro. Like oh god, it's terrible to watch. Go watch your dog take a shit in the yard. You'll have a better time. This next one, some may say robbery, some may say no. Siri Sidey. I don't even know. I haven't heard his name because I missed this one too. But Garrett Armfield. What'd you think? Because I know you were on the Armfield side.
Oh yeah, man. I definitely thought this one was an robbery, an armory. It's a robbery. Armfield. No, it certainly, in my opinion, was a robbery. I had good money on Armfield as well. I mean, The story of the fight, just go look at the pictures of them standing there waiting for Bruce Buffer to read off the scorecards. And I think you could decide who won that fight. Siri City was absolutely pieced up. His face was destroyed. And Garrett Armfield looked like he just got out of the grocery store, like he hadn't been in a freaking fight. The numbers are close. However, the fight itself, Garrett Armfield was the one marching forward. Garrett Armfield was the one landing the more significant strikes. Garrett Armfield landed takedowns, not just one, but four of them. Siri CD didn't. He went 0 for 4. Some give him credit for these submission attempts. Well, guess what? Just because you shoot guillotine doesn't mean anything if the guy pops his head out and is continuously beating up on you while he's on top of you and you're flat on your back. I don't know, man. I really don't know what we were watching. The Canadian, he's not even Canadian. The Ukrainian, whatever. He got a little bit of a biased win.
um, I mean, if you guys don't believe it now, which I was on the CD side. Okay, so I got this pick right. But if you guys don't believe it now, I mean, if you go and you fight somebody and they're the hometown fighter, and it's anywhere close, you don't beat the piss out of them or finish them, and it goes to the judges, don't be shocked if you don't get it. Which like shitty to say, but it is. It is what it is. I mean, you saw it in Abu Dhabi.
JP's
Saw it here. Come on, bro. Are we not gonna take this into consideration now?
JP says don't be shocked, but you guys watch Siri CD's face as they read his name from the scorecards. He was shook. He didn't believe that he won that fight, and he said that in the post-fight interview as well. I don't believe I won the fight because you didn't, brother. You didn't. Garrett Armfield deserved that win. That sucks for him because overall it was a great performance. I didn't even know he had boxing like that. It was crisp. It was sharp. The way he was able to enter in the pocket, land his shots, and get out of the pocket before CD threw a high kick and things of that nature. It was just beautiful. Yeah, they robbery.
I mean, yeah, man. And like you're saying, jumping Gilly. I mean, come on. Especially if you're not getting it. If you've jumped it 2 times, 3 times, and you haven't gotten like, we all know when it's close. If you got that thing locked up in full guard and that thing's deep as shit, the dude's on his toes, okay, then you're damn close. But if we're sitting there and you got one leg wrapped over and like half guard and he's kind of off in the side control and I mean these high level guys, fucking Darren Elkins, dude literally showed you. He literally said I'm gonna let people jump Gilly when your arms get tired and my head pops out. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I mean, Gillies are hard in
Yeah.
high level MMA, unless you're Charles Jourdain. So,
Yeah, the only thing is Siri had a tight darce at the end of round one, but Garrett was able to survive, get himself in a really good position, defend it very nicely as well, and get out of that. So, like, I don't know how much we're scoring that. Like, it's a good attempt, but at the same time, Garrett Armfield had 4 takedowns, had 4 minutes of control time.
damn near 5.
Um, where are we? Like, where's the credit for that? I think it was missing.
It's just not consistent. Like the
No.
judging is not consistent whatsoever. Granted, it's different commissions, but like, come on, bro.
That's all right. All right. Moving down. Chad and Helliger versus Cody Gibson. Cody wins via unanimous decision. Honestly, I should have made Cody my lock, man.
Yeah, I mean, Cody really just dominated, dude. I mean, one scorecard was 30-26. Um, surprised Dan Hilliger survived. To start the fight, Cody's on him. Boom. On him good, too. Taking his back, flattening him out, getting him in bad positions, like right away. Dude's got like 4 minutes left in the round, and he's in a terrible position. So I was like, oh, this fight's ending. But no, he survived, man. And I mean, when you look at we'll put up the screenshots in the edited video, but they're normally like red or yellow, like the fighters when they get hit and shit. Cody Gibson's character or his little AI guy, perfectly fine. Just looks exactly like normal. So dude never got hit. But yeah, 12 minutes of control time. The fight was 15 minutes, and 12 of it was Cody control time. worked him.
Yeah. I think that's all you need to know. If you guys look at the striking totals, oh my goodness, they landed the same amount of strikes. Cody was in control from start to finish, man. Like JP said, 15 minutes was the length of this fight. Cody was in control for 12 minutes and 25 seconds. Earned himself a 30-26 scorecard. Definitely had a 10-8 round in there. He's solid and he's getting older. I mean, JP's talking about fade the 40s. Man, I'm trying to roll with the 40s here, man.
Nah.
Cody Gibson's looking sharp. He is looking sharp, especially against guys like this. He's going to get a few more fights where I think he can do a very, very similar thing, where there's a threat of getting knocked out, but Cody's going to be able to wrestle them. I'm probably going to keep hammering Cody as we move through this division there.
Yeah, Brevin's talking about how he thinks he's got a good read on a Romanov now. I'm telling you guys, these Ultimate Fighter guys, especially from that specific season, I think we're so dialed in on all of their fights. We've seen them all fight enough. We've faded them. We've backed them. Same thing with Katona, and we got the Katona call right because he lost because he's trash sometimes. We just know when to pick him, man. But yeah, good win for Gibson. First fight of the night. Jamie Lynn Horth, Ivana Petrovich, the other girl I was talking about.
Yes, this one certainly gave us a run for our money. You want to talk about maybe a robbery? I'll throw this one in there and that consideration as well. Petrovic definitely looked way better on the feet. Outstruck Jamie Lynn Horth by 17 strikes, which was very impressive. The control time for Ivana Petrovic as well was there. Had her up against the cage pretty much all the fight. Jamie Lynn really didn't know what to do with it. Really, when she should have been working underhooks, she was just kind of sitting there with her arms up over the arms of Ivana. Had great head position. Not a ton going on in this fight, but there's a reason it was the first one on the card. Split decision went the way of the Canadian. I mean, that kind of goes with what JP was telling you guys earlier. Home crowd favorite, probably going to get the split decision victory. And she did, which made me happy because we picked her, obviously. But Petrovic probably deserved this fight, thinking back on it. And that's that. But we'll take it and we'll take another win.
It's just I don't know. They both kind of did the same thing, and neither of them really like beat the other one up. On the card for ESPN for Horth, it doesn't have any sub attempts. Like I'm pretty sure she had like at least
She had the armbar. She had the armbar close.
yeah, the armbar
She had a
had to be counted.
triangle. She had a triangle close.
Like
So I agree with you.
come on, and we're gonna count Sidey's sub attempts, but we're not gonna count these ones. Like what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that
It probably did
helped
because
her.
that armbar was close, right? And like the
Yeah,
judges were able to see that. And I think that's one of those things where like it helps you that they don't see statistics. They see what was happening. And we saw the armbar that was close. If she would have just separated herself from Petrovic a little bit, created space, Petrovic makes one mistake and pulls back, tries to pull her arm out of there. That arm would have fucking been really tight there. She probably would have tapped.
I mean, yeah. So, and you're saying possible robbery. Maybe that was what helped them and be like, oh yeah, that was enough for the Canadian. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's what it is. Petrovic looked okay. I wasn't impressed by her. I was impressed by Lipsky earlier on the card. I don't know why I said Petrovic, but I wasn't impressed by Horth either. So both are
Yeah,
still
I'll
cheeks.
ask you. Are you more high on Jamie Lynn Horth or Ivana Petrovic after their fight?
Petrovic.
I agree. I think the striking's better. I think she has a little bit of a wrestling base to her as well. And I think moving forward, she's probably the one that I want to put my money behind as opposed to Jamie Lynn Horth, who really gave me nothing to like. I
I
really
agree.
didn't like her game at all.
Yeah, I agree. Which I'm not gonna lie, the fact that it was in Canada and she was a Canadian, that's why it helped me pick her because I knew shit like that is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Every time,
Yep.
man. We've been screwed too many times to not consider this stuff now.
1,000%. Well, that does do it for the entirety of the card. This video will come out November 5th. Make sure you guys go out and vote, right? Let's get
Mm.
out there and vote. Um, do our thing there. What else, JP? What else? What other news? 12 to 6 elbow. We saw a little bit of that. We
Hey,
didn't talk about that.
rule
That was
change.
fun to watch. Except I forget who it was. Thought it was okay to 12 to 6 elbow right on the spine, which is still illegal. But
I
he hit
didn't
him
see
pretty
that.
hard.
I didn't see that. Was it Romanov?
Oh my goodness. No, it was not Romanov. Um, let me see if I can recall.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah,
I don't think I can recall.
the road to 500 subs. I think we're at like 107 or something right now. So thank you guys for that. We appreciate it. We hope you guys are having as much fun as we are doing this. These fight night cards are a little few and far between, but also the new gloves. We haven't brought this up yet, but we've seen a considerable amount of change in the decisions versus knockout rate before the gloves and after the new gloves. So something to think about, when betting on KO. Next
Yeah,
weekend.
unless they're going up against Mark Andre Barril, then the KO
Facts.
prop is hitting. But
Facts. Bet hammer the KO prop. Fade the 40s. Fade Barrialt. Fade Boudet. We got a couple rules here on Locked Door. Okay. Revan, next weekend, you excited for the return of Carlos Prates?
so excited, man. The card as a whole is the worst card I probably have seen in about 2 years. But yes, we got a couple of guys from the Fighting Nerds. So excited to see them go to war on Saturday.
Yeah, that might give a little hint on where we're leaning, but we'll wait for that video on Thursday. Brevin, anything else for the people before we let them go?
So make sure you guys go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We're absolutely crushing it. We didn't really talk about the records. JP and I both went 9-4. Not too shabby. Had a little bit of robberies here and there, but we'll take 9-4. The lock hit. We're back on the saddle there, and we're going to continue bringing you the best picks every single weekend. So make sure you don't miss out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
I mean, that's 3-4 weeks in a row where we're hitting bets every weekend. Not all of them, but we're hitting. And there was that one card we went 11-1 where we swept the card, swept the bets wise, and the juicer and the basic. I mean, we only missed it by one leg. So come on, baby, we're back in the driver's seat, back in the train. Okay, Locked Door locomotion. Just came up with that right now. That's beautiful. All right, hop in the
Backdoor
train.
locomotion.
Hop in the train. Get a cup of hot cocoa. I know it's cold outside. Get cozy. Get comfy. Get ready to watch some fights. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Bingo, bango, baby. Peace.